Tiger. What is your name? Nice to meet you, and welcome to our British Commercial Vehicle Museum. All of our vehicles have their own exciting story of adventure to tell, and this one is no different. This is the Edinburgh Horse Bus. Back then, vehicles were powered by horses, and this was the first bus of its kind to transport people round towns and cities. Look, it even has a top deck. Although I wouldn't want to be on here when it was raining or going really fast. You'd have to hold on very tight. These buses were so popular that they were used all over the world. In Hong Kong, New Delhi in India, and all the way across the other side of the world in Queensland, Australia. These buses were used for anyone wanting to get around and about. But some vehicles are used for very important jobs. Like the Leyland Lioness, used to transport kings and queens. Or the Leyland Popemobile, used to transport Pope John Paul. Transport is used for so many important jobs and getting different people to exciting events. One of my favourite stories to tell is the story of how a young girl's life is turned upside down when her fairy godmother magics her a horse and carriage so she can go to the ball. Do you know which story I'm talking about? That's right, Cinderella. Would you like to hear it? Going to tell an interactive story, so make sure you've got a little bit of room around you. You might need an adult to help you with that. Are you ready? Then I will begin. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a girl called Cinderella, except I like to call her Cinders. Cinders was kind and caring, and she loved to sing and dance. Not only was she beautiful on the inside, Cinderella was the most beautiful girl for miles and miles around. Cinderella lived with her father, her stepmother, and her 2 stepsisters. She lived a happy life until one day, sadly, her father became very, very sick and passed away. But that's not the worst part. Cinderella's stepmother became jealous of her kind nature and loving ways, and she dressed the girl in rags and made her a servant to her and her 2 stepsisters. Oh dear, Cinderella was given so many jobs to do every single day that she was never allowed to play out with her friends or go on any adventures. She had so many chores to do. She had to polish the windows, scrub the floors, dust the ceiling, do the cooking, and wash the smelly socks. Oh, it was disgusting. Can you do those actions with me? I bet you can. Can you scrub the floors? Very good. Polish the windows. Dust the ceiling with your feather duster. Very good. Can you do the cooking? And can you wash the smelly socks? I think we should help Cinderella with her chores. If I shout out the name of the job, will you do the action? And then we can help Cinderella get her jobs done really, really quick. Okay, are you ready? Scrub the floor. Dust the ceiling. Do the cooking. Scrub the floor. Polish the windows. Wash the smelly socks. Scrub the floors. Polish the windows. Dust the ceilings. Polish the windows. Dust the ceilings. Do the cooking. Wash the smelly socks. Dust the ceilings. Scrub the floors. Polish the windows. Scrub the floors. Polish the windows. Scrub the floors. Polish the windows. You were so good at that. And guess what? We have helped Cinderella to get her jobs done really, really quickly. Now, one day, Cinderella was in the forest collecting firewood. And all of a sudden, a man in a horse-drawn carriage pulled up beside her. Inside the carriage was the prince. The prince. The door swung open, and the prince was really taken aback by Cinderella's beauty. He was usually very calm and suave in situations like this, so he gathered himself as to not seem uncool. "Hello, fair maiden," said the prince. "I would like to invite you and your household to a royal ball at the palace tonight." And he handed Cinderella an invitation. Now, our Cinders was not aware that the prince was so taken aback by her beauty. In fact, Cinders wasn't even aware that the prince was the prince. She took the invitation from the man and bid him farewell. Cinderella could not believe it. "A royal ball," she said. "Wowee!" And she ran back to the house as fast as her legs would carry her. Dropping firewood on the way, she could hardly wait to tell her stepmother and her stepsisters of the exciting event to come. When she arrived back at the house, as you can probably imagine, her stepmother was not too pleased with her. Not only had she returned home with no firewood, but she had disturbed her stepmother's afternoon nap. She took one look at the invitation and burst out laughing. "You go to a royal ball? Oh, Cinderella, you have to be kidding me. Why would anyone want someone like you at a royal ball, dressed in rags, bringing down the whole mood? No, 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 no. It will never do. Besides, Cinderella, you have far too many chores to do, and you need to get me and your stepsisters ready for the party tonight." Cinderella was heartbroken, but she knew there was no point in arguing with her stepmother, so she thanked her for her time and went away to get the ladies' hair, makeup, shoes and outfits ready for the ball. Cinderella thought maybe, just maybe, if she could get all of her chores done and get her stepmother and her stepsisters ready for the ball, then she might be able to go too. Well, the hours of the day ticked on by, and before Cinderella knew it, it was time for her stepsisters and her stepmother to go. She'd run out of time. Oh, Cinderella was so upset. She waved them off as they went to the party, and she went into the kitchen and she started to cry. She just couldn't understand. She worked so hard for her stepmother and she was so kind to her stepsisters. Why didn't they like her? And why didn't they want her to go to the ball? Oh dear, boys and girls, I think Cinderella needs our help. In fact, what she needs is a little bit of magic, and we are going to bring that magic to her. What I need you all to do is to wiggle your fingers like this. Fantastic. Can you give them a really good wiggle? And then after 3, I need you to say the magic words. Bippity, boppity, boo. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Did you do it? But it wasn't very loud. Should we try it again? Let's wiggle our fingers and then after 3. 1, 2, 3. Bippity, boppity. That was a little bit better, but this time I need you to be as loud as you can be. I need everybody in the world to hear you saying these magic words. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Bippity, boppity, boo! That was fantastic! And guess what? It worked! Because as Cinderella sat crying in the kitchen, there was a flash of lightning, a puff of smoke, and in front of Cinderella stood her fairy godmother. Cinderella could hardly believe it. She rubbed her eyes to make sure she wasn't dreaming. But no, in front of her was a beautiful fairy in a gorgeous gown with multicoloured fairy wings and a lovely magic wand. Hello, my child. Do not be afraid, for I am your fairy godmother. You have been mistreated for far too long. I am here to get you to the ball on time and in style. Cinderella could hardly believe it. She thought she might have suffered from a bump to the head. Now, said her fairy godmother, I need you to get a few things for me. First, a pumpkin as large as you can find, and 4 white mice. Off you go. Cinderella went outside to collect the items. She had no idea what her fairy godmother could want with them. First, she brought her the pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magical wand over it, uttered the magic words, bippity, boppity, boo, and the pumpkin transformed into a beautiful golden carriage with emerald green wheels, red velvet seats, and beautiful golden handles that glistened in the moonlight. Wow, said Cinderella. I would like to live in this carriage, let alone just travel in it. Now, said the fairy godmother, we need the power to get you there. Horsepower. And she waved her wand and said the magic words over the 4 white mice. And they transformed into 4 beautiful, proud horses, perfect for pulling a carriage. Now, my child, said her fairy godmother, you. And she waved her magic wand over Cinderella, and her rags melted away into a beautiful ball gown with a diamante tiara on her head and glass slippers on her feet. She looked really, 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 really pretty. She did. Now, said her fairy godmother, have you ever been to a royal ball before, Cinderella? I'm afraid I haven't, she replied. The reason that her fairy godmother was asking her this is because there's quite a few things that you need to know when you're going to a royal ball. And I thought today I could teach you those things and then we could show Cinderella what we've learnt so she'll know what to do when she gets there. Okay, the first thing you need to know is how to curtsy. So, you take a step to the side. You put your arms up like this. You put one foot behind the other. And you bend down like this. Very good. Then you go the other way. You step to the side. You put one foot behind the other. And you bend down like that. Very good. Could you show me and then we can show Cinderella? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Oh, fantastic. Cinderella will know exactly what to do now. Next up, we need to know how to bow. This one's quite easy. We need to put our feet together. One arm here. One arm here, and we bend forward like so. Should we try this again? One arm, and we bow like this. Can you show me and Cinderella how we bow? 1, 2, 3. Very good, fantastic. Now, at the royal ball, there'll be some knights on horses. Now, knights usually carry swords. Can you hold your sword in your hand like this? And then hold onto your horse. And then we need to gallop like this. Can you do that? And then can you swish your sword around like this? Fantastic. Now you. Wonderful. Cinderella will know what to look out for now. And finally, our ball would not be complete without some dancing. So let me show you a really good move for the ball. We are going to sway from side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let your arms flow like this. Oh, beautiful. Okay, keep going so we can show Cinderella. Oh, lovely. Fantastic. Cinderella is all ready for the ball thanks to you. But before she goes, a word of warning from her fairy godmother. Cinderella, my magic is strong, but it will not last all night. When the clock strikes 12, the spell will be broken and all of this will disappear. You must leave before midnight. What time must she leave? Before midnight, exactly. Now, let's all wave Cinderella off as she goes to the ball. Say goodbye, Cinderella. Oh, I hope she has a nice time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why wouldn't Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters notice her when Cinderella made her grand entrance to the ball? I'll tell you why. They were too busy bickering with one another and fussing over what they looked like to notice her when she entered the party. They also didn't notice the prince's reaction to her. He was so drawn to Cinderella and he didn't know why. He recognised her from somewhere, but he couldn't put his finger on where. He made his way over to Cinderella and he bowed and she curtsied because we taught her to do it. And they danced all night. Oh, how they danced! Should we have a little dance? It is a party after all. But this time, let's freestyle. Are you ready? Hit it, DJ! dancing that she had forgotten everything that her fairy godmother had told her. She needed to leave the ball right now, or everyone would see what she really looked like, all of her rags and her horrible clothes. So she turned away from the prince and she ran as fast as her legs would carry her. She couldn't stop. As she was running, her foot slipped out of her glass slipper. She didn't have any time to pick it up. She ran out of the ballroom and all the way home. When she got back from the ball and back to the house, all of the magic had disappeared. It was like it had been a dream. Except for one thing. Cinderella still had one glass slipper. She hid it so her stepmother and her stepsisters couldn't find it. And it would be her memory of the wonderful night she had dancing with the prince. When her stepmother and her stepsisters got back from the party, they bragged to Cinderella about how they had been dancing with the prince all night. They had no idea who was really dancing with the prince, or that Cinderella had been at the ball at all. Back at the palace, the prince was beside himself. All he had was the glass slipper belonging to the girl of his dreams. He had to find her, and so he hatched a plan. He would try the shoe on every single lady that had attended the ball, and then he would find the girl of his dreams. Back at the house, Cinderella's stepmother was becoming very, very suspicious of her. Cinderella was so happy after her magical night that she had been dancing and singing around the house, and she was being more kind and caring than usual. And Cinderella's stepmother did not like it one bit, and so she locked her in the tower. As she turned the key to lock her in, there was a knock on the door. It was the prince. He had come to try the shoe on every lady in that household. As you can imagine, her stepmother and her stepsisters tried to squish their ginormous, smelly feet inside the glass slipper. But of course, it didn't fit. The prince, feeling very disappointed, was just about to leave when all of a sudden he heard a noise. "Help! Hello! Help me!" said the voice. "Who was that?" said the prince. "Oh, no one. Ignore it. It was just a bird," said Cinderella's stepmother. But the prince didn't believe her. He ran up the stairs of the tower and he knocked on the door. Hello, let me out," said the voice. And the prince knew he had to find the girl behind the door. And so he pushed at the door, but it wouldn't open. He pushed again, but it wouldn't open. Oh dear, boys and girls, I think the prince needs our help. After 3, put your hands like this and we're going to push as hard as possible on the door. 1, 2, 3, push! Didn't work. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, push! Okay, we need to push really hard to help Cinderella. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, push! It worked! The door flew open and Cinderella was stood there, and the prince recognised her as the girl from the forest. "It's you," said the prince. "The girl from the forest." "Oh, it's me," Cinderella replied. The prince asked her to try on the shoe and, as we all know, it fit! The prince couldn't believe it. The girl from the forest is also the girl from the ball. "You have to marry me. Please, will you marry me?" And our Cinders, of course, said yes! It was such a wonderful celebration. Cinderella and the prince ruled over the kingdom with kindness and love. And guess what? They all lived happily ever after! That was such a good story. Thank you so much for helping me to tell it. You were all brilliant. And I hope I can tell you some more stories really soon. But for now, I best be off. My name is Tiggi the Tiger, and I'm the tiger of the Leyland Tiger Cub Bus at the British Commercial Vehicle Museum. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye!